Welcome to the Hope Athletics Orange and Blue podcast. My name is Alan Babbitt, Sports Information Director here at Hope College. It's my privilege, as we have done this podcast now in our second year, to talk with different Hope College coaches, administration, student athletes, and have them share their experiences of Hope and, just the great place. And it's nice to be able to spotlight the great people that make Hope the wonderful place it is. Here with me today, it's my honor to talk with Grace Pettinger, former Hope College volleyball student athlete, a recent graduate from Hope with a degree in history, and appropriately, with this being Women's History Month, and as we continue our celebration throughout the school year of Title IX legislation, with a project that she had a big part in, and it was a joy to read and learn some things I had forgotten or didn't know yet, or had learned in my time as Sports Information Director. So Grace, welcome to the Orange and Blue podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Well, let's first to get to know you a little bit before we get into talk about your wonderful project. Grace, from Mount Vernon, Iowa to Hope College, how does one from Iowa find Hope College?
Yeah, so my family actually vacationed up in Arcadia, Michigan for my whole life. And I knew that I wanted to come somewhere in Michigan. I knew I wanted to go somewhere small, somewhere that felt like a home. And Hope was absolutely that place for me. So, yeah.
With volleyball, obviously, was your sport of choice. When did you first fall in love with the game?
Yeah, I fell in love with the game when I was probably like 10 or 11, because my sister was kind of getting into it, and she would kind of play in the backyard with me, trying to coach me in some way. I was horrible. And I just thought I just really wanted to get better so I could actually play volleyball with my sister. And so I worked really, really hard to get to her level. She was 2.5 years older than me. And so that's kind of where I fell in love with it and got super committed just to kind of keep up with my sister.
What did you, once you got up to her, and did you get better? Are you better than her, or did she, are you still
ended
chasing?
up not. Yeah, she didn't stick it out. She quit, I think, middle of high school. By that point, I was doing it for myself, and I just loved the sport. She's a photographer now, so she was busy with that. And, but that it became just one of the biggest parts of my life. I loved it so much and really wanted to continue it in college. Just was just really important to me to being who it was, part of who I was. So yeah.
We're talking about her, and I didn't ask her name. What's your sister's name? We should give her credit for being the inspiration.
Yeah, her name's Claire. She lives in North Carolina now with her husband Gio and her two little children.
Nice. Well, thank her for inspiring you to play volleyball at Hope. A defensive specialist. That position's a unique position because it's a tough one. You got to anticipate and react real fast to someone trying to slam the ball down on the court. What gravitated you to that spot on the floor, and what did you enjoy about that challenge of playing on the back row?
Yeah, so I am quite small in stature. So there wasn't that many options for me. I used to be a setter in middle school. I thought I was going to be the best setter in the whole world. But then I stopped growing, and I was like, I think I need to get good at passing and digging. So that's what kind of limited my options, but I love it. I love defensive specialist.
What did you learn to really enjoy about it and thrive on that challenge?
Yeah, I felt like it was so empowering to see a ball that looked super impossible to get off the floor and think, yeah, I can get that ball, and then actually go for it. And also, I mean, what I also love about it, we have a wonderful, the girls above me and below me at Hope, who are also defensive specialists. It's such a good community of people who like love each other so much. And so they became like Sasha Poland and Maggie Wehrmeyer, Gabby Vachon and Jenna Vanderlaan, from kind of grades above me. We just all became really great friends and became a great community that supported one another. So that was kind of my top like reasons for loving that position.
I imagine in that position, you have to have a short memory because you're not going to get every ball, especially the level Hope competes at in practice, let alone
For
some of the
sure.
competition you faced as one of the top teams in the country. Is that something you had naturally, or is that something you learned from like, okay, I didn't get this one, but I'm going to get the next one?
Yeah, it's kind of like just like a respect kind of thing. When McKenna Otto just slams it right in front of you, or honestly, I mean, there's been multiple times where I just get like hit in the face, honestly. It's just like, wow, that was really good. Like it kind of becomes even on an opposing team, like when it's something's really, really good and you gave your full effort towards it, but still they like it still hit the ground, like it's honestly just a thing of, yeah, that was good. Okay, I'm going to try to get you on the next one. Yeah.
A lot of successes for that you were a part of with the Hope volleyball team, including this past fall. You talked about the community already within your defensive specialist group, and I know that extends beyond that with the program head coach Becky Schmidt has built.
Yeah.
When you think back about your time as a volleyball student athlete, what impacted you, from when you came in as a freshman from Iowa to now a graduated senior and moving on with your career in history?
Yeah. Volleyball really was a lifeline for me at Hope. It became, as soon as I entered the program, it was this my community. They were my all of my friends were like volleyball people, coming from out of state. A lot of people know each other. But I just, didn't have any sort of community here. And volleyball really just like wrapped its arms around me. Not like just the people that were on the team, even freshman year, all the way up through as we added people throughout my career, just became so important to my life and so supportive. And Coach Schmidt actually just does a wonderful job of being so welcoming to everyone in that's coming into the program, and just making that a possibility. So all of the bonding and team culture efforts that she and the coaching staff puts forth really just bonds everyone together and makes it a community for sure.
And then a great way with your last season to be MIAA champion
Oh, it was
with the
wonderful.
Flying
Yeah.
Dutch. What did that mean to you to to have that and be a part of a team that was the best in the MIAA this season?
Yeah, it was amazing because we knew freshman year coming in, we had I think I think there was like 19 people at the very beginning with our class, and then by the end it was 9. And we knew that our class had so much talent and so much versatility, and each person brought so much to the table, and we had just kind of been waiting for the moment where we could show what we were capable of, and it felt like just a culmination of the 4 years of growth. And so to kind of come out on top with that was just wonderful. Yeah.
Part of, and I hear this from a lot of student athletes that I talk to, one of the unique things with Hope and the Division III level in particular is that opportunity to be able to compete at a high level athletically, but then be able to, you're pursue other things academically or just part of the college experience here, the vast array of opportunities that are here at Hope. What did that mean to you to be able to balance where you could be a high level college athlete, but then be able to, if you want to participate in dance marathon, for example, or
Right.
some of the things that you did, just talk about that and what that meant to you to kind of have that, whereas just wasn't that 100% laser focus on athletics.
Yeah. So I am a huge history nerd. I love I love honestly school, which is kind of a unpopular opinion. I love academics. And it's like just as volleyball is is super important to me and really big part of my life. My passion for history is also like so important to me and part of who I am. And being able to pursue that to like the ends of my of possibilities was so important. Like I was employed at the Joint Archives for since my freshman year, and also at the Kreisinger Art Museum, and that just like completely prepared me to I'm actually going to be pursuing a master's degree to go into archives, and it just prepared me so much. It even to the if I was just doing volleyball, as much as volleyball was important, I would not be prepared for everything like academically that I'm wanting to pursue. So being able to have the best of both worlds, really, with athletics and with academics was just amazing. I would not trade my like D3 experience for the world. I just would never make a different choice because I just enjoyed it so much.
When did you discover that, as you called it, a history nerd? When did you realize, okay, this is kind of like they talk about like maybe a perfect serve or a perfect golf swing where you had that tuning fork and you realize, you know what, this is what, I was graced with the talent and passion to do. When did you realize, man, history just feels different than maybe something else?
Yeah. So actually through taking some of the like national standardized tests, they always would have like questions at the very end, specifically usually for just female students. And it would usually ask about your interest in STEM. And I always felt like I was like, like I mean, I like science, like I like math like enough, but like I don't know. I think I'm not a STEM person. Like I'm not a STEM person. I think I really like history and English. And as I kind of leaned into that, I realized that through specifically like an AP World History course that I was just super passionate about like learning people's stories from the past. And I just thought it was so cool to, especially women in the past, kind of parse out their stories and make like kind of give them a voice. um and and it just like really lit me up inside. So yeah.
With this project that you did, kind of talking about Hope Athletics, the early years,
Yeah.
where did that idea germinate from? How did that start? Where did you get that idea to put together this article?
Yeah. So Jeff Reynolds at the Joint Archives, he's the director there. He actually came to me with this project because the jacket that was left, that was kind of like the centerpiece of the story. There, it was a blue Women's Athletic Association jacket from the early 1950s that was dropped off at the Holland Museum. And because it was Hope, it was like a Hope thing and not just like a Holland thing, they gave it to the Joint Archives, and it was just dropped off. It was like anonymous. It was on the front step, and didn't have any information about the owner. And Jeff came to me with this and said, what do you think you would want to kind of research the WAA and kind of figure out like what some of these patches mean and what like what kind of story you can find from this, because there's a lot there. I was like, I just immediately was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to find that story. I want to find, be able to kind of put, a person into that jacket that we have now. And it was just super exciting for me. And I really loved just jumping on it.
Were you ever able to discover the owner of that
No,
jacket?
no, still working on it. So in the article, it actually says like, if you know anything about it, if you are the donor of this, please let me know because I just want to meet you. Yeah.
How long did that project take to put together before you published the article then?
Almost a full year, or school year. So I started on it in, I think, the beginning of my junior year, and so late 2020, and then didn't come out until the spring of last year. I
What
believe.
what's the I'm sure there was a ton that you learned, but what stood out to you? What was something like you just didn't know because that was obviously back in the 50s or 60s. What,
Yeah.
what what's something that jumps out to you that you're going to
So
take with you?
I was super intrigued by the fact, first of all, that I don't know, the way that women's sports at that time was centered around social life, and that honestly, almost all of the women at Hope were part of the WAA, and just how important it was to women. And they would do these like intramural play days, sometimes with a different school. They would do it with Calvin. Um, and then there was also a MIAA, like anyone from the MIAA, Women's Athletic Association, could come to these play days. And they would sing songs and do volleyball games and have tea. And it was a whole day event. And it was just this like really a wonderful day for them. And it's so different. I didn't really realize it was so different than what I experienced as a Hope athlete. Like as a Hope athlete, I was kind of, and actually throughout my entire career as an athlete in general, even growing up, I was always, just as much of a competitor as the boys at my school. And I was very blessed to um be taught as like that I was a competitor just as much. And as much as an important these women's play days and WEA intramurals were like important to them, it was really like the reason that this was a thing at this time, at least for the organizers, was to create quote unquote the well-rounded college woman. Um, and so it was a different purpose. I thought it would be like, let's play these sports. We're just as great as men as playing sports and all this stuff. Um, but it wasn't quite there yet. And I guess I was just surprised that my experience was so different than these women's, but not any more important, because these women had so much fun doing these things, and this was their community, and it was so important to them. So I don't want to say that it was bad or anything like that, because this was their lifeline to them in their college career, and volleyball for me was my community and so it was just different. But I do think it was surprising to me how different women's sports experiences were, because they weren't looked at as these competitors for the college, or representation, like almost like a warrior for the college, like men's sports was at the time. And honestly, kind of how women's and men's sports are now. But instead it was to create a well-rounded woman for them, and make them better, even though um they were representations of the college too. So yeah, I guess that's what really surprised me in that.
It's interesting that there's that common tie in terms of community.
Yeah, for
Yet
sure.
the I'm trying to think of the right word, but obviously I think you said it, the focus was different, more, as you
Yeah.
said, well-rounded athlete. And the focus is a well-rounded athlete for all here, but
Yeah.
also there's that increased competitive side. Imagine to just grow an appreciation for that experience you've had now.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, yes.
without, as you said, not diminishing what they had before, because that's a community they had, but that appreciation for how it's grown.
Yeah, and it really switched with Title IX specifically, this being Title IX's 100th year, or not 100th year, 50th. Is that what
Yeah.
we're on? Obviously not 100th.
Wish it was 100, but yes, just 50.
Yeah. Title IX really switched it, because it became more important for them to be not just intramural athletics, but it became intercollegiate athletics. So they were so more sports were added to the MIAA and made that equal. And it became more important to be representative of, being warriors of hope. So I am just so thankful that my experience was, I wasn't being trained to be a well-rounded woman through this. through my experience at Hope and through my experience in volleyball. But I was playing volleyball for me and for the people around me, and to support and represent Hope as a college as we traveled around the country, really, or around the region rather. And I am just really thankful that I had that opportunity. Instead of it being about um, making me a good woman, I just felt more empowered. And so I'm just really, really thankful. It like really puts it, I'm so blessed to be born when I was. So yeah.
Who are some of the, is there, I name a couple of people, it can be at Hope, it can be outside, just historically that you've met as we talk about Women's History Month, just that who inspire you or who you deem as kind of role models for you, whether or not they're in a different career or whatever, just that like, that are important to you that, you'd like to highlight this month?
Yeah. My main inspiration and role model is my grandma. Her name is Marlis, and she was born in 1933. And what really connected me to this project and made it real for me was the fact that the woman's jacket was from 1953. And my grandma, she did not go to college, but she was I think she graduated high school in 1951, and then she got married in 1953 when she was 20. And so she was probably around the same age as the woman who wore the jacket. And she is like a piece of history to me because she actually experienced the culture and world that that woman experienced. And it made it like so real for me, not just in this project. And as I'm kind of studying the 20th century, we did another research project with Professor Janes about the 1930s and 40s at Hope. Like all of these like 20th century kind of projects that I've been doing she's just really inspired me because she makes it real for me and makes me able to put a face to the culture. And it's not just this far time that nobody's around from. She's still here, and people from that culture and experience that are still around. And so she's a really big inspiration for me. Also, just all of the women that are in volleyball with me now. And I don't know, as a history major and someone who's kind of obsessed with these, like telling of these stories, I I always think about how I really want in the future someone to care enough to go through my jackets and my scrapbooks, or someone to care enough to find my story. And I'm so thankful for the people and women around me that empower me to do those things, to work on women's stories from the past. And it's my inspiration for not just me, but I want them to be remembered too, and them to be kind of sought after in the future. So really my grandma specifically, but then also just the community of women that I've been surrounded with today.
You mentioned grad school, and lastly, I'll ask you kind of what do you see? What are you thinking right now as far as your career? What do you hope to do and try to accomplish as you move forward with your education from Hope?
Yeah, I graduated in the fall, in December now, but I am planning to go to grad school in one of three places. I'm not totally sure. I either Simmons University in Boston, Maryland, or North Carolina Chapel Hill, and pursuing a dual master's degree in one MA in history and an MS in library science, and hoping to just kind of be a archives librarian in a university setting. Just kind of as I was just really inspired by my time at Joint Archives, and I think that that's where I kind of belong. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, good luck with that adventure. We'll look forward to following you, and thank you for your time and joining us on the Hope Athletics Orange and Blue podcast, Grace.
Thank you so much.